Yes. Okay, good morning, everybody. December is a really rough month. I don't know, maybe next year we should decide not to do anything in December. I know I tried to organize something for tennis and I got like a handful of people. And this huge list of people that saying, not this time, I have guests or I'm traveling. The travel club is out on a cruise. I don't know if any of our members are on that. So I don't know. We'll have to decide that next year. I sent you all an agenda mostly because that's the one place right now where there's a list of all of our meetings. And there are some like quirky times and things like that. And I wanted you to have all that well in advance. I'm waiting for information from two more groups, which I should get today. One is just to confirm the review session and the other is to confirm their topic. And then I'll make a formal list like this and I'll put it on the webpage so everybody has it. But right now, I wanted to remind everybody that on December 21st, a group of us is going to Mount's Botanical Gardens to see the holiday lights. I've been there before. It's really beautiful. It's tickets only. It's like $10, but you have to buy the tickets in advance. They're limiting how many people can go in. So they really require that you have tickets before you could buy the tickets right there. Wasn't a problem, but not in COVID time. Anyhow, so there's a group of about 8 right now. So if you want to do that, let me know just after you bought your tickets that you're going to be going, and we'll wait at the beginning and go in together. You're allowed to take a tripod. I did that last time. Of course, you can shoot with your camera or your phone, and I'll get some articles together on shooting light displays because you can get some really spectacular stuff there. Okay, so that's on December 21st, which is a Tuesday. The next, hold on, that's Eva.
Yes.
Okay, the next meeting is in January, on January the 4th, and they're going to be doing some nighttime shooting. So instead of having the meeting in the morning and then the shoot in the afternoon, we're going to do the whole thing in the afternoon. So that's why I wanted to make sure everybody knew the time, because that's a change. So that's going to start at 3:00. We'll have the Zoom session, and then we're going to go into downtown Delray. And their topic is signs. And it's going to be signs that aren't lit. And then after, we're going to have dinner and we can walk around at night and do signs that are lit, like neon, which is fun. And you can use intentional camera movement with that and make it even more fun. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knew about those two. And here's Barbara. Anyhow, and the third thing that's really important, and this is something a lot of people took advantage of when we had in-person meetings before the photography show every year. Kit and I used to offer a mentoring session in the lobby of the social hall, and people would come over and bring their pictures, and we'd talk about their pictures, give them suggestions, help them choose, if they had too many and they couldn't narrow it down themselves. That was always helpful to people. So we're going to do that on Zoom, and it's going to be a broad critique. So you send your pictures. You can send up to 8 pictures if you want. We'll look at the pictures together and make suggestions for you. There'll be like 4 or 5 of us that I made sure would be on that Zoom to give important information. And also, if you're thinking about entering another contest or competition, like Florida Camera Club Council or any of the other ones that we're sharing with you, then that would be a good time to ask about that as well. We're going to have these critique sessions about 4 times a season. I'm going to try to do them like every other month. This one, because it's so close to our show, is perfect for that. But others will be perfect for any other kind of competitions, that you're thinking about entering. Okay, so I thought those were important things to talk about. The other thing that is really important is the photography show. We decided to do it virtually again this year. So all the information is up on our website. If for some reason you have trouble with that and you need a copy of the rules, just send me an email and I'll shoot it over to you. We did it. We're doing it exactly the way we did it last year. So the submission period is January 25th to February 8th. So now's the time you should start looking for your photographs. You're going to have this beach photo opportunity, whether you go today on the trip or you go on your own, and you're going to have Gardens of Light as a photo opportunity, and you're going to have signs as a photo opportunity. So that's 3 things all before we get to the reviewing your picture part and the submitting your picture part. Plus, you can look into your archives and submit anything that didn't win a ribbon in another year. Okay, and you can submit pictures that you submitted to the cafe, because those are not really judged as photographs. They're judged more for impact. So those are all judgeable again by photo reviewers. Okay, I think that's all the things I had on here for you guys. I would beg you again to consider joining the meetup group that a bunch of us belong to, the Art of Photography US. On January 2nd, they're taking a trip to the Riverwalk in Fort Lauderdale, where they have jazz brunch. They have jazz brunch down there, I think, several times a year, and the musicians are out amongst the people playing, and there's lots of really good people photography as well as photography of the musicians. And then you just do brunch on your own in one of the restaurants that's right there. So it's a really nice event. So that's on January 2nd, and they have lots of interesting trips as well as the photo review that they have Saturday and Sundays, where you could send me your photos or just watch other people's photos being reviewed. Whoops, sorry about that. You didn't see that, but another screen popped up. Anyhow, so I just really can't emphasize that enough. And it's free, free is always good. So just know that that's out there for you. Okay. And it's always good to do things outside of our group so that you get feedback from other people, which is a really helpful in improving your skills. Okay. I'm going to turn this over to Doris and her group that are going to do beach scenes with us.
Okay, thank you. If for people who were not going on the trip today, we included street photography as part of the presentation so that you don't necessarily have to schlep all the way to the beach in order to come up with some photos for the review session. You can find some people anywhere on any street, downtown, shopping center, Valencia Falls. So that's good. Okay, first up is going to be Marty talking about street photography. 1 second. I have to do screen share.
Lost you, Doris.
Yeah,
I didn't open it yet. Wait.
There you go. You're on your way.
We got healthcare.
Not yet. Okay. Marty, street photography.
Okay.
Opening up. Oh, I meant to open it before and have it ready so that the pictures load. They take a minute. But I'm sorry, I forgot to do that today.
Don't worry about it, Doris.
Okay. Let's give it a minute. The pictures are going to load in the blank spaces. All right, first flub of the day.
There you go.
Pictures are coming. There you go. Okay, Marty, take it away.
Okay, I summarized, instead of reading everything, I just try to summarize it to make it easy. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Number one, most cameras are usable. You can use a cell phone, a point and shoot, DSLR, whatever. On adjustable cameras, shutter speed is preferred because of movement. Number two, on adjustable cameras, a higher ISO is usually between 400 and 1600 according to lighting conditions. Number three, a wide angle lens will add to the story with the surroundings. Number four, Manual or autofocusing can be used, which gives you a more intimate story. And finally, number 5, smaller cameras are easier to use and are less conspicuous. And that's my story.
Okay, thank you, Marty. Do we have any questions about that? Okay, we have a short video from a street photographer in Manhattan with some tips for doing street photography. Okay, wait, I don't see him.
We don't do that. It's worked before, we can tell you that much.
Yeah,
I have
there it
no
is.
idea what it is.
There he is, there he is. Wait a second. No, I didn't want to try it for free. No. Don't want that. Please start over.
That's funny.
So what's happening, the Zoom pictures were in my way. Okay, so I have to share sound. Wait a second. Under more, share sound, make it bigger. Let's see, start over. Okay.
Crosman, I'm a street photographer and Fujifilm creator here in noisy but vibrant New York City. And today I'm going to show you 5 tips for taking your street portraits to another level. Dope, thank you, fellas. Tip number 1, experiment with wide angle lenses. Get up close to your subject for a different look. Getting close will allow you to get a unique perspective. So you're actually playing into the distortion. It's not very flattering, but we're not doing fashion, we're not doing headshots, we're out here in the streets. So a lot of the characters that you're gonna be taking pictures of anyway have a look to them that is gonna be accentuated by getting up close and shooting wide. For those of you that are normally using 35 millimeter, 50 millimeter, try going to 24 millimeter. I will get right up in people's faces with a 24 millimeter equivalent because it makes my portraits more interesting. Tip number 2, loosen yourself up. Before you take the pictures, talk to people on the street. I'll compliment people. I'll say, hey, nice hat, nice shirt. It's kind of like the idea that practice makes perfect. It will get you ready for that moment when you need to shine. If I see somebody walking by, there's something I like. What's going on, man? How you?
I'm all right.
All right, good. Good to see you. Just like that. It's so easy. So that way, when you want to stop somebody and take their picture, you're already in the zone. Tip number 3, don't pose your subjects. Let them be natural. Give them something to do. Make them laugh. Tell them to make a funny face. Tell them to do something they don't normally do. If you normally pose like this, I don't want you to do that. Sometimes you gotta give them a prop. You gotta work with what you have available. You're out in the streets, so there's tons of environment, there's tons of props. You got people walking by yelling. Have fun with it. The idea for street portraits is really just to make them fun, make them unique, make them yours. I like the shirt. Do you mind if I take a picture of it? I love it. Stay right there. Awesome, thank you so much. You have the old stove.
Very cool. Have a good day.
Thank you, same to you. Tip number 4, practice on people taking selfies. You see that couple struggling, go up to them, offer to take their picture for them, and when you're done, say, do you mind if I grab a picture of you? It's the easiest way to practice. It not only helps you get better in taking pictures on the fly, but it helps you get more comfortable with talking to strangers. Tip number 5 is all about the approach. Excuse me. How's it going? My name's Derek. I'm a street photographer.
Yeah?
I love your style.
Oh,
I take pictures of style on the street. Do you mind if I grab a portrait of you?
Quickly.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you.
welcome.
Have a wonderful day. Be polite. Smile. Stop them. Introduce yourself. Tell them what you do. Tell them why you stopped them. Throw them a compliment. People love to be complimented. Ask for the portrait politely. He had to be out of here really quick, so I'll make it quick for him. It's that simple. Sometimes you shake their hand, sometimes you don't, sometimes there's some conversation, sometimes they're not. You gotta run with the moment, really just make it yours. When you're genuine, people see that. Respect them, respect their time, respect the fact that they're gonna stop and let you take a photo of them. Sometimes it's a quick thing, sometimes it's a drawn out thing. You just gotta use your judgment. Go out there, get them, have fun, use those 5 tips, and go out there and make your portraits unique, make them your own. Try to stay away from the cliche. Thank you for sticking with me through these 5 tips. You can find me on Instagram at likeamachine and my website, likeamachine.com. I'm out.
Okay. Now Nancy's going to talk a little bit about photographing.
Before we do that, I have 2
Yes.
additional suggestions, I think.
Okay.
You need to have a shallow depth of field. So you want to focus on the person rather than the background. And the way to do that in a cell phone is to set it up in portrait mode, which gives you a narrow depth of field, and you can actually change the aperture. Now, if you have a DSLR, you want to keep it, you want the lens to be as close as possible. So in other words, it should be, aperture should be somewhere 2.4, 2.8, whatever your smallest setting is. Again, because you want shallow depth of field.
Great. Thank
I-
you.
For this
And I
type
have-
of
Just to let you know,
photography.
Ira, not all cell phones have a portrait mode.
Right.
So when
Okay.
people start looking for it, I don't want everyone to start looking, where is it on my phone? You might not have one.
Okay, and that's not all street photography. What he's talking about here is specifically taking pictures of people. That's not all street photography. But if you're doing pictures of people, you need a shallow depth of field. If you're taking a whole scene, you need a wide depth of field.
I'm going to add something as well. You may not have noticed, but one of the things I noticed watching that video was he got down lower to take some of those pictures and was shooting sort of up a little bit. Those kids on the bridge with the bicycles, he was down pretty low. So you need to try to vary your perspective, your camera's perspective when shooting these things. And when you do it with your smartphone, it's really cool to turn the phone over. Everybody's used to shooting with the camera, either the phone vertical and the camera up in the corner, or the phone horizontal and the camera still up in the corner. If you turn it over so the camera is at the bottom corner, it's a completely different perspective. And you might get some really, really interesting shots.
I wanted to add something. Do people notice the kind of not the brand camera he was carrying, but he looked like he was carrying a mirrorless camera with a short lens. So he might have been using, either the standard lens that comes with it, or a macro lens.
He said he suggested wide angle.
Wide angle. Okay, all right. But there's 28, there's 35 millimeter wide angle lenses, but there still means you have to be pretty close to what you're getting to.
Right.
Okay, whenever I hear a bunch of tips, usually I can come away with 1 or 2 that are really helpful. Like, I would be shy to stop people on the street, but I might be willing to go help somebody who's trying to take a selfie. Maybe not in the days of COVID, but that's what I took away from watching the video.
I don't know if they'd still want you to take their picture on your camera. That's a whole different story than taking it with
But
their
you
own.
already started talking to them, and you can ask.
Yeah.
It's already, you
And you can, I
broke
would
the ice.
say, I understand if you don't want it.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I
And-
just say something? His approach was wonderful with respect to the smile and the ease of his comfort when he approached people. And if you compliment them first or point out something, love your hair. Oh my God, those earrings are fabulous. You know what? I'd love to take a picture. So you just kind of move, and people are really, they got a pet, they've got a little dog, they've got a baby in the carriage. Sometimes the parents are protective of the children, but when you compliment and you spend a couple of minutes talking with them, all of a sudden they just ease up, and it really becomes a lot more comfortable to do, more easy than you think.
Okay, maybe we can practice doing that today.
When you're with another person, it's also easier. I took a street photography class a couple of years ago at Old School Square, and we went around in pairs and triplicates with all of us had a camera. So people knew, obviously, when we were walking up to them that we were taking pictures. And we
Okay.
just said, we're in a class, the instructor wants us to do this. And nobody said no.
Yep.
Hello, can I say something? Can I be heard?
Sure.
Hello,
Sure, we
Thank
hear you.
Thank you. This is Eva. I just want to caution folks that people of the Islamic faith may not want to have their photographs taken, and you always have to defer and say thank you. Even if they say no. Also, religious Jews may not wish to have their photographs. The sensitivity comes into play here.
Very true.
Good point.
Now, one other thing, if people are in public, you can take their picture. There's no privacy if you're in public. Whether you
There's-
want to do, you should be polite and all, but there's no privacy in public.
It's a very sensitive thing now to photograph children. Everybody
Yes,
thinks
I
that
agree.
you're
Yeah.
a pervert, so I wouldn't do that without permission.
I agree.
Sure.
Okay, we're ready for Nancy and piers and boardwalks.
Okay, I also truncated what to say. The other thing is, you're gonna find that no matter what you're doing, it's a lot of repetition. If possible, take a walk along the boards early in the morning. Unfortunately, it's already too late. Oh, and we know going sunrise or sunset is not gonna happen today, but it would be nice if you're up early, or and you want to get down there, go for it. It's good to go before the tourists arrive. The empty pier could be used to guide your eye out to the sea. If you want,
Us used to deal with it. I think it's great that
But
you can't get
Somebody's
Somebody's
talking.
making noise.
It's her problem. This is not.
Put it
your-
on mute,
Oh,
please.
I know, I'm trying.
I know.
you mute everyone. I can unmute myself.
She said, well, don't get me wrong.
Once you're in screen share, oh, I see it. Got it.
This is so stressful.
Got it.
Okay, I got it. Okay. Where was I? If you want to emphasize the bustle of the seaside resort, try using a slower shutter speed to blur the movement of the people walking up and down the pier. I can't say this enough, and I'll probably say it more than once. Safety first. Not all piers are accessible to the public. So you can't just spot one from the highway and make an assumption that it's safe or legal for you to shoot there. Excuse me. First, find out whether it's okay for people to be there. If there are swimmers or other beachgoers nearby, and there are no warning signs or fences, it's a safe bet you can set up there. But even public piers can present a hazard if you don't take care and stay aware of your surroundings. It's a good idea to know the times of low and high tide, and don't put yourself in a situation where you might get trapped by rising water, or worse, surprised by a sudden camera destroying wave. Piers are strong structures that stand alone on the coastal lines of many of our favorite seaside resorts. They are brilliant subjects for a photographer. Not only can you photograph them as a whole, but you can also get in close with micro lenses, focus on patterns, point your lenses at passerbys, or wait for the sky to change and capture the historical structure at sunrise and sunset. With so many ways you can photograph piers, you really keep yourself busy for quite a few hours with this in mind. Here are 5 top ways you can photograph a pier next time you're at the coast. What photography kit do I need for a pier photography? Wide angle lenses will always be useful when the photographer appears, as you are able to capture shots of the beach. Go wide on the beach. For additional atmosphere, try slowing your shutter speeds down to blur the moment of the sea as it crawls up the beach. 3, get on the pier, guide your eye. Again, earlier is better. Guide the eye to the sea. 4, and this one you got to really be safe with. If it is safe to do so, and have a walk under the pier, as you often find the structures that create strong spots with photography from the beach. This supports closer to the sea. It will have an interesting tide line patterns, seaweed, creatures worth a quick snap with your micro lens too. Just keep an eye on the tide if you venture under, as we don't want you or your kit getting wet or worse, getting swept out to sea. Don't forget patterns. Look for the patterns in the pier. And most important, and I'm going to say it again, please, 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 I can't say enough, be safe. It's the most important thing in my mind. That's it. Thank you. I cannot get my camera. Well,
If anyone has a comment or a question, you're all on mute, so you have to unmute yourself first.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Just a couple of points with regard to trying to slow your shutter speed down, which can also be done with some of the apps on your iPhone. But if you slow your shutter speed down, sometimes what happens is everything becomes blurred. If you want the pier to remain tack sharp, but yet you want the people to appear a little more mystical, a little more flowing in their movements with a little blur, or you want the water to have a little blur, then you'll need to be on a tripod to make that happen. Because otherwise everything will become blurred once you drop your shutter speed down. And the other thing is, in high daylight like we're going to have now, it's almost impossible to do that without a neutral density filter that will darken your lens to start with, because everything will wind up, when you move the shutter speed down, you're allowing more light. So when you allow more light, you're going to tend to get blown out when you have daylight like we're going to have now this afternoon. So it works better earlier in the morning, later at night, close to dusk, the blue light hour, but you can do it during the day, but you need a neutral density filter to do so. And I would suggest bringing a tripod if you're going to play with slow exposure. Thanks.
just to let you know, when I was in Chicago, I went to one of the lakes and I took pictures. And because of the wind, which right now we don't have, I was sorry I didn't have a tripod because I couldn't hold my camera or my phone, whichever I was taking pictures with, steady enough.
I wanted to add something.
Go.
Well, the neutral density filters, you can buy them in singles or you can buy more than one. And depending on the lighting conditions, you just screw one on top of another. You just have to be careful that you don't screw it on too tight and that you'll have to use some kind of jar open, a jar opener for cameras or one of those kitchen rubber things to be able to get it apart. Now, I have a circular polarizer, but I also have a warming polarizer for days that you might go somewhere where it's overcast, but still might want to get a nice, nice beach scene, because the warming polarizer will warm everything up. And I discovered accidentally, I didn't take it off my camera, and I went and did pictures inside Macy's department stores, that it counteracted the light, the fluorescent light in Macy's department store to get my pictures the correct white balance, because I'd left the warming polarizer on it. So, but you can use any combination. You want to leave a UV filter on, put a neutral density on top of that. Just make sure that you have something to wipe any dust off your lens. And eyeglass wipes, the kind that Walgreens sells. You can quickly wipe your lens or the filter. And I would suggest keeping your filters separately in like little plastic bags, so they're not sitting on top of one another. And you can label it with like, with a stick-on label that this is a 72 or this is a, whatever this particular filter is, and put it in a small little nylon bag that you can easily carry with you, so that you don't have to fish for it. You keep it in your camera bag, and if you want like the waves to come in to look soft and dreamy, then you have to really be there with the tripod and make the shutter speed really slow. We could go from 10 seconds or below, depending how much you want. And a suggestion for your tripod, so you don't bring home sand, put some plastic bags with rubber bands on the bottom of your tripod legs. Then you could take off the plastic bags so you don't bring home sand. if you're on.
point.
Okay, thank you.
I
I think
would-
you guys covered my next presentation.
I'm just going to add one thing is that Miriam mentioned about keeping your lens clean. That goes for your camera as for your phone camera as well. All right. You have to really be conscious of the fact, think about your phone camera lens. It's in your purse. It's in your pocket. You're handling your phone when you're texting and stuff like that. Your fingers are on the lens unless you're obsessively careful. So just be sure that you're every once in a while, you're cleaning off the lens on your cell phone.
Absolutely.
That's what she's showing you wipes. I have a microfiber cloth hanging on my camera so that I have it with me all the time.
The article suggested a blower for sand because you can scratch the lens when you're wiping lenses
Yeah,
that get
good
sand on
point.
them, and
Good
not
point.
to change lenses at the beach. Just too risky to not have them get dirty or sandy. Okay, some of this is going to repeat a little bit. The best time for beach photography is sunrise or sunset. But being we're going there in the middle of the day today, I have some tips for dealing with the harsh lighting. To use a low ISO, no more than 100 or 200, a narrow aperture, maybe f14 to 22, a fast shutter speed for your action shots, and a slow shutter speed with a tripod if you want to take dreamy pictures of waves or water. There were 3 filters suggested. We already talked about it, the ND, the polarizing, and the UV. If your camera has the capability to shoot in RAW, it's a good idea to shoot the beach scenes in RAW. You might want to use your flash if you're taking people's faces and the background is very bright. You will need some fill-in light. There are other things at the beach, so you can take beach chairs. You can find colorful beach umbrellas. You will need to use the correct metering mode, which is a lesson for another day. And look for people, pets, birds, maybe even some macro shots of seashells or driftwood. So the important thing to do is to relax, have fun, and the more you practice, the better you're going to be. So to wrap up our presentation, I have photos from the Lake Worth Pier from our past trips.
Before you
And,
start, Doris, I just
yes.
wanted to add one thing to the exposure thing. If you're
Yes.
shooting with a traditional camera, don't forget the exposure compensation. If you look, you have to look at your picture. So you take a picture and then you look at your histogram or you look at the display and you see that it's too bright. And you can't get your ISO down low enough or any of your other settings where you want them. You can use the ± button to further change the exposure in the camera. So just play with that as well, okay? And try to make the exposure look good on your display and the histogram look good so that when you get home, you don't have problems. Because if they're overexposed, it's going to be really hard to fix them in your computer.
Just
Excellent
remember
tip.
to set it back when you finish.
Yes, good point.
It happens to me all the time.
Right.
The article suggested that. I just skipped it when I was reading my notes, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, you're probably going to be doing the minus button, but just look at it and see what you're doing.
This is all from so far from the Lake Worth Pier.
You're not sharing anymore, Doris.
I'm not, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that it stopped.
Yep.
No, that's the wrong share. To go back to Zoom. Let me minimize this. Minimize this.
While she's still looking for that, Adrian, when are we having the review session and how many?
I
pictures
wrote
do
that
you-
down. I was going to do that at the end. So you can say
Okay.
the review session is on December 17th at 3:30. I'll send out an email, but just so you know. And you have to get your pictures to me by December 13th, 2 images each. There you go.
Okay, great. Okay, this is from the Lake Worth Beach. Sidewalk by the Lake Worth Beach. We were there on a windy day, very windy. Shot of the pier. I hope we might see some surfers today. I'm not sure if they're out on Tuesday morning. I probably went back on a weekend and saw more of them. Fishermen. I walked under the pier. It felt very safe. The water wasn't coming anywhere near me. This is from an island in the Caribbean, colorful umbrellas. This was from the beach at Boca. I happened to see kids taking surfing lessons. Marty,
This
you
was
want to comment on
a
that?
candid shot. It was taken in Little Havana. This is a street vendor counting his money.
Hmm.
This is another candid shot, which is something that you have to watch out for. These people, I took their picture. I was walking around, I saw them sitting there, and I decided to take their picture without asking. So she's getting up to say no. So you gotta be careful.
This was from Lake Worth at the chalk painting festival. There were all kinds of characters walking around. I liked the way he was sitting up there with his guitar or ukulele, whatever it is. Chalk painting. I took kids without permission. I hope they didn't see me or the mothers didn't see me. And that was in Europe, a busker taking a break. That's it. Stop share. I think I'm back. Thank you all for your attention. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we learned something new.
Very nice.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
guys,
Presentation.
whether if you're going today to shoot or you're going on your own another day or going into your archives, 2 pictures to me by December the 13th, which is next Monday. And then I'll put them together for the review session, which is on the 17th at 3:30.
I think that we don't need to really meet anywhere. We'll find each other because we'll be arriving different times.
Okay. Eva has a
Um,
question. You're on mute.
Hi, everyone. I just want to remind you, if you're sensitive to the sun, please wear a hat and put on your suntan lotion. And also, Adrian, could you give us a time for where we meet for lunch and give us an address, please?
Okay, so if you get there, I'm assuming, what time is it now? It's like, you'll probably be leaving here like 10-ish. So you'll probably get there around 10:30. So why not plan to meet like at noon? There's a pizza place right on the walk, like right above the beach. Doris had a picture there of a street. There's Kilwin's for ice cream, and there's a pizza place, and there's a new restaurant there also that's a little pricey. So we decided just to do casual. The pizza place has lots of chairs outside and tables, and even if you wind up inside, it's all wide open. Like the whole front of the restaurant is open. And it's a cafeteria style in that you get online, you order your slice, you pay, and then you go out.
They do not take reservations because I called. But if you want, if I know how many, and if everyone wants to go, if they want to see me, let me know, and I can try calling and say for 12 o'clock, but I'm not guaranteeing anything. Maybe we just should meet. I don't know.
But you don't have a physical address, right? Is it on the?
It's in the
have one.
casino, in the old casino building, right on Lake Worth Pier.
Like when
Beach.
you park your car and you walk towards the beach, you'll see an entire row of stores. There's a t-shirt shop, a restaurant, Kilwins, and the pizza place right there by the old swimming pool. That's closed
It's
up.
Mamma Mia's Pizza.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Great.
Just a note if I can.
Okay, yeah,
because-
I
wait,
have the
wait.
address. I found the address.
Okay, do the address for everybody.
10 South, I assume yes, Ocean Boulevard, Lake Worth.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I looked up the pier. It's $1 to walk on the pier. It's $3 an hour with electronic parking meters in the parking lot. I think a 2-hour minimum if you want to use a credit card. If not, you have to bring cash. I think that's all we need to know.
Someone else had something to say.
Yeah, just a quick note about, I mean, Eva had brought out the hat. Yes, to protect from the sun, but I will tell you, without a hat, it's this time of the day, it's very, very difficult to see anything in your viewfinder or when you're trying to focus because the glare on your cell phones or through your DSLRs will kill you and you won't be able to see any of your settings inside. So you need the brimmed hat.
All right, we sent you directions for I-95. I'm gonna take Jog Road up, Lake Worth Avenue, and then when you have a fork in the road, you want Lake Avenue, and that'll take you straight to the beach.
Great.
Any questions from anybody?
Have fun, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you, Doris.
Thank you.
Thank you. Doris deserves all the thank yous, by the way.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
I
you,
had,
Doris.
I had a great
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye. Thank you. Okay, see ya.